The Arizona Senate race just got a whole lot more interesting. Former news anchor and failed 2022 gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake is preparing to declare her candidacy. Lake is in the process of interviewing staff in anticipation of an October launch. So can Lake actually win? The news of her plan to run for Senate comes one day after we got a poll showing her as the clear frontrunner in the Arizona GOP primary. Lake is currently receiving 42% of the vote compared to just 11% for Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb, who up until this point had been the frontrunner in the race. Outside of Arizona, Kari Lake is probably best known for not conceding the 2022 election to Democrat Katie Hobbs. Parts of Lake's lawsuit to overturn the election results were either rejected or dismissed. Let's be clear, she has no credible claim to the governor's office. Lake lost the gubernatorial election by 0.6%, a slightly wider margin than Trump did to Biden, but she wasn't competing against third-party candidates. So let's assume for the moment that Kari Lake wins the GOP nomination. Who will she be running against? The Democratic Party frontrunner is Ruben Gallego, House Rep from Arizona's 3rd Congressional District. In that same Emerson poll, Gallego is at 48% with 40% undecided. He is going to be the Democratic Party's nominee. Gallego appears to be a pretty strong candidate on paper. He's a veteran, he's a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus and the Medicare for All Caucus, so he has some appeal to the left, and his 100% voting record in line with Joe Biden gives him appeal to the Democratic Party base. But he's also not afraid to criticize Joe Biden. Gallego recently stated that Joe Biden should be doing more in response to the extreme heat Arizona is currently experiencing. And of course, there's Kyrsten Sinema. She has filed paperwork to run, but she hasn't officially declared her candidacy. Sinema left the Democratic Party in 2022, and after she left the party, her approval rating among Democrats sunk. But she has bounced back, as I think people realize that her changing her party really didn't change how she'd do her job. Today, 42% of Arizona residents approve of her performance, while 43% disapprove. That doesn't sound too bad, but according to Morning Consult surveys, it makes her the 6th least popular senator. For example, compare her net -1 approval rating to Tester's net +23. It's not close. Before we discuss if Kari Lake can actually win, I want to talk a little bit about fundraising, as we know money matters in politics. Ruben Gallego is actively fundraising more than Kyrsten Sinema, but Sinema does have more than $10 million in her bank account. Right now, it's unclear how much money Kari Lake will have, but she raised quite a bit while denying the results of the 2022 governor election. So, can Kari Lake actually win? If you watched my most recent Senate video, I rated this race lean Republican, and it was the rating I received the most comments about. Well, today I'm changing that rating. While I think Kari Lake absolutely could win, we can no longer deny that Ruben Gallego is the frontrunner if, and this is a big if it's a three-way race. In every poll, Gallego does better in a three-way race regardless of candidate. Emerson found him leading Brian Wright by 3 head-to-head while holding an 11-point lead in a three-way race. Gallego tied Mark Lamb head-to-head but led by 6 in a three-way race. And just look at all this polling we have out of Arizona. Yes, some of these are Ruben Gallego internal polls, but they're all showing the same thing. Gallego is winning. Furthermore, Arizona is simply becoming a much more favorable state for Democrats than it has in the past. Arizona is highly urbanized, its Latino population is rising, and Democrats are winning a very strong percent of the state's Native American vote. And this is a bit of breaking news, but Arizona abortion rights advocates are launching a campaign to add abortion protections to the state's constitution in next year's elections, that's 2024, in a bid to invalidate the state's current 15-week ban. We've seen Democratic voters be very energized when abortion-related issues are put on the ballot. So what is Kari Lake's path to victory? Well, hope that Kyrsten Sinema doesn't run. But let's not forget the Arizona gubernatorial race in 2022 and the presidential election in 2020 were decided by less than 1%. It's still a very winnable state for the GOP if they can turn out more voters. How does Arizona affect the balance of power in the Senate? Check out my next video for my full Senate analysis.